Hello people, welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the propaganda machine. This is the game week 10 Premier League preview. And as we always do, we start with Arsenal. Arsenal take on Newcastle at St James's Park this weekend, and this is a grudge match. Remember last season? Last season we got done so dirty. And going into this game, we're on the back of a loss and a draw in the Premier League. So we have no choice but to win this game. This is a must win. Any more drop points, especially if Liverpool or Man City win, if both of them win, the title race is officially over. So injury news. Martin Odegaard ruled out of this game, but hopefully he will be available for our next game against Inter Milan, and I expect him to probably start the Chelsea game, which is very, very good news. Calafiori, he's out for a few more weeks, as is Kieran Tierney. He will be back after the international break, so he's needed. I thought his career was over, but with all these injuries, he might just get a game. Gabriel, he'll be available if he completes training today. I believe training was earlier. I don't know if he was there. Arteta is keeping everything hush hush, the same as Ben White. Ben White hasn't trained all week. He's got a new injury, so I don't know if he will be available for this game. And as we know, Tomiyasu, yeah, he's nowhere to be seen. So, with that all being said, we'll go into my predicted lineup. David Raya in goal. Thomas Partey right back again. Saliba back for his suspension to partner Gabriel, who I believe will be available. Urian Timber will be the left back. Declan Rice in the 6. Merino and Trossard. Probably a game too soon for Ethan Nwaneri, but I would not be opposed to him starting. Saka, Martinelli and Havertz will be the front three. So, as I said, this is a grudge match. Newcastle, they're without a win in 5 games. Their form has been shocking. They won their first 3 games and drew 1. They had 10 points out of 12. And the next 5 games, they've only had 2 draws, 2 points out of 15. Yes, they got a victory against Chelsea B team in midweek and knocked them out of the Carabao Cup. But they are not in good form. They're really not in good form. But painting the picture, we'll go back to last season, and we were hard done by last season. It was a tight game. We lost 1-0. The ball was in play for about 51 minutes or maybe 53 minutes. One of the lowest in the whole Premier League season. Newcastle's goal, there was multiple factors. Was the ball out of play? Did Joe Linton put 2 hands on Gabriel's back and jump to head the ball into Gordon? And was Gordon offside? Should Bruno Guimaraes have seen a red card when he punched Jorginho in his head? Should Havertz have seen a red card? That game was poorly officiated, and the way how Arsenal are going to win this game, we can't get too involved in the fight because Newcastle are a nasty team. Last season, they took the most time from goal kicks. That's what Arsenal have been accused of. But this Newcastle, they really know the dark arts. Bruno, Joe Linton, just nasty players that will give you elbows, little kicks. That's probably why Ethan won't start this game, as those Newcastle players, they know how to get under a person's skin. So the key things that we need to do in this game is be aggressive, make sure we move the ball fast, make those Newcastle players work, because this game will be won on hunger, desire, passion, and sprinkle that in with a bit of quality. So our forwards are going to need to be on their A game, or maybe it might even be decided on a set piece. I can see it being a 1-goal game, but a 2-0 or 2-1 wouldn't surprise me either way as well. So with that being said, my score prediction for this game is 2-0 to Arsenal. Next game, Manchester United versus Chelsea. And Man United, they've just announced Ruben Amorim will be their new manager, and he will take over from November the 11th. So what I want to see is if he has an input in tactics in this game, because maybe they might set up different. He sets up with the 3-4-3 at Sporting Lisbon. Will Man United change their tactics for this game? And is he going to have a hand? Maybe. But one thing I do know, there will be a new manager bounce. We've already seen it from the Leicester game. 5-2. Battered them. Loads of goals. Now, I expect that to continue. I still have question marks over Chelsea. They've started the season quite well. Their attack is very dangerous, and they're very dangerous on the counter-attack. But my question is, in these big games, will they have enough? Will they have enough to get over the line? Will they let the atmosphere get to them? I don't know. Because in the Liverpool game, they were alright, but they didn't really look threatening. Lost 2-1. Man City beat them 2-0 opening weekend. So, questions still have to be answered. Plus, they just lost to Newcastle. Yes, that was a heavily rotated side, but it's still a loss nonetheless. So, are they going to bounce back, or are they going to fall victim to Man United's new manager bounce? And they have Arsenal next week. So, these next two games are probably going to tell us a lot about Chelsea. If they lose to Man United and Arsenal, or even lose one and draw one, I think I can safely say not much has changed. They finished 6th last season under Pochettino, and will they finish higher than 6th? Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll judge Chelsea fully at the halfway point of the season. But back to Man United, they're sitting in 14th position. There's only 6 teams below them, and those are the 6 teams. I believe none of them won for 4 game weeks, and they made me say that I believe 4 teams should be relegated. That's how bad those teams have been. So you can probably see they're only a handful of points away from the relegation zone. So they done the right thing getting rid of Eric Ten Hag, because relegation, it was starting to become a possibility. it was really starting to become a possibility. Even though I don't feel they would have got relegated, but they could have been in that relegation zone sooner rather than later. And it is very, very lucky for them that those six sides have been some of the worst sides we've seen in recent years. But they got a new manager, new energy around the place, and I am going for a 3-2 win to Man United. Expect goals. The last meeting between these two sides was a 4-3 win for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Cole Palmer, 2 late goals to win the game. And Chelsea haven't won at Old Trafford since 2013, I believe, 11 years. So it's not really a good hunting ground for them. Next game, Bournemouth versus Man City. Bournemouth, last time out, got a 1-1 draw with Aston Villa, and before that beat Arsenal 2-0. So you can say they're a resurgent team. They are very resurgent, and they're starting to find their form. They're up against Man City, who only have 13 available players, which is like a mini injury crisis. It seems like a lot of teams are suffering with injuries, but saying that, last season I feel like Man United and Chelsea both had a lot of injuries. So this season is the turn of the Arsenals, the Man Cities. So you're just gonna have to deal with it. But yeah, Man City, they just lost in midweek against Tottenham. Will they bounce back? Will they bounce back with a win? It's their first loss in all competitions this season. Will they bounce back, or will they start a mini loss of form? I don't know. But they're probably licking their lips having to face Bournemouth because they have beaten them 14 times in a row. I think that might be a record of a team pummeling another team in a row 14 times. And sooner or later, Bournemouth are going to get something. It, this is probably their best time to get it home, Man City. But I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it. And I think Man City, they probably had a kick up their backside in midweek. That 2-0, 2-1 loss against Tottenham kicked them out of the Carabao Cup. So I think they're probably gonna get the 3 points in this game. And my score prediction is 2-0 to Manchester City. Next game, Liverpool versus Brighton. These two teams just played each other in the Carabao Cup not too long ago, and Liverpool came out victorious just the other day, 3-2 winners. That was at the Amex. So although it's never really good playing a team back to back after a couple of days, Liverpool are at home, so I'm expecting that to potentially work in their favour. Brighton, they've had quite a good start to the season. They're sitting in sixth, which if you said that to them at the start of the season, I think they would have probably bit your hand off and said, sixth, definitely. New manager, as usual, they lose players. They lost Pascal Gross this year. They didn't really lose too many. I can't really think of much players that they lost, but Pascal Gross, he was integral to them last season. I believe Adam Lallana also left. So that was a few of them. But they kept hold of the likes of Mitoma, which he has had a very good start to the season. So yeah, they're doing quite well. And Liverpool, on the other hand, Arne Slot was breaking records, first manager in English top flight history to win 11 of his first 12 games. That was before he drew against Arsenal. But still, 11 wins out of his first 13 is still a very good start. But after watching that game, I was just like, there's still something about Liverpool. I don't know where it is. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm just not really convinced by them. And yeah, I can't see them going all the way in this title race. Although I see them being comfortably the third best team in the division, as they have the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, who makes a difference. He scores crucial goals at crucial times. He's a captain, he's a leader, and him and Konate, that partnership, has been the best in the league this season. So maybe they might shock us all and stay top and win the Premier League. Who knows? Because Arsenal, they don't look too convincing. Man City, the injuries are piling up. And sooner or later, if they keep getting injuries, it might just be Man City in name, not Man City on the field. So, who knows? Liverpool might shock us all. You might not even need to play your best this season. The points total for the winners might be back in the 80s. I don't know when. Actually, no, I think Man City got 89 points, but maybe it might be mid 80s to win the league this year. So, yeah, Liverpool have a chance to do that. But in this game, Brighton, I feel that they might be able to get at Liverpool. Liverpool are at home and they're going to go for it. Brighton on the counter attack with the likes of Minter, Mitoma, Welbeck, Adingra, Ferguson. Oh, yeah. I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I think another 2-2 draw for Liverpool on back-to-back weekends. Because they conceded 2 in midweek against Brighton. I feel they might concede another 2-3 games in a row. Spurs vs Aston Villa. Tottenham, they're feeling rejuvenated. They lost their last Premier League game against Crystal Palace, but I think if you ask most Tottenham fans, would you take that loss again, knowing you guarantee yourself a place in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals at home against Man United? I think they would have took that. They would have probably bit your hand off. So it's been a mixed week for Tottenham, but I think they're very happy. Aston Villa, on the other hand, they just lost. They got kicked out of the Carabao Cup, lost to Crystal Palace 2-1. So it's not been the best week for them, especially as they drew with Bournemouth. And they're unbeaten in 7 league games, but they've drawn 3 out of their last 4. So it seems like they're slowing down a bit. Tottenham, they've got no draws since the opening day. So they're usually a team that either wins or loses. It's like win or lose, it's feast or famine for Tottenham. So I'm expecting a very, very interesting game. And if Aston Villa do go to Tottenham and win, I believe they might have beat them last season. I feel like it was 2-1. Ollie Watkins scored question marks will start to be on being asked about Tottenham and whether they are still a top six side, because Aston Villa, I believe they have a year Champions League. I believe they have a lot more league titles than Tottenham. And I believe it might be one or two less cups than Tottenham. So we'll have to ask the question, because when Leicester City finished above Arsenal for 2 years in a row, people were asking these questions too. Tottenham are currently sat in 8th, Aston Villa are in 4th. There's no doubt who are the better side. They were better than them last season. If it's 2 seasons in a row Aston Villa finish on top of Tottenham, we might have to take away their top 6 status. But in this game, I see it being a close affair. I do see goals. Tottenham, they seem to mostly always score at home. They do like goals at home. And Aston Villa, I just can't see them not doing damage on the counter-attack. Rodgers, Watkins, potentially Bailey. So I'm going with a 2-2, even though Tottenham don't really draw. Next game, Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. And West Ham, they just seem like a team that are deceiving people. They've mastered the art of deception. They battered Ipswich and then they beat Man United. They probably had a loss in between. But I can't see this manager lasting. Even in that Man United game, they were very, very fortunate. Man United had so many chances to put that game to bed in the first half, and they didn't do it. And in the Premier League, one thing you can't keep doing is getting lucky. Newcastle found that out. They slid down to 12th. They were 5th. Couple games later, they're down to 12th. West Ham, they are in 13th. Very, very close to the relegation zone. They're flirting with it. Their performances haven't been up to scratch. The midfield looks like it can get run through at any moment. And Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, they look like a solid unit. Solid from back to front. They don't really concede a lot of goals. And they like to score now. Chris Wood, a man in form. I believe only Haaland and Cole Palmer have more goals than Chris Wood this calendar year. And I've said he should be in an all-time Premier League underrated 11. Because the man just can't help it. He can't help it. He's got the striker's instinct. And that West Ham defence, it's a shocking defence. Shocking defence. I can't see anything but a Nottingham Forest win. Alanga, Hudson-Odoi. I don't know if Gibbs White has been playing, if he's back, but I can only see Nottingham Forest winning, and I'm going with a 2-1 victory. Fulham versus Brentford. This is a middle of the road game. Fulham in 10th, Brentford in 9th. Both teams, if you told them this is where you'd be at the start of the season, I think they'd both be relatively happy. Smith Rowe, he's come in and he started very well for Fulham. He's integrated with his teammates. He's got a good partnership with Iwobi. Reece Nelson hasn't done too badly, although he hasn't got as many starts as he'd like. Traore seems like he's found a new lease of life. So, Fulham, they're doing very well. Also, Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez has found his scoring boots. This is quite good for Marco Silva. He's got Fulham playing. And Brentford, without Ivan Toney, Ivan who? They got the Cramp twins. Those Cramp twins in Buemo and Vissa. It's like Ivan who? They have been outstanding. Outstanding. It's literally like a regen of Andy Cole and Dwight York. Whatever they got is telepathic. It is a telepathic understanding between the two of them. And in this game, I can't really pick a winner. So I'm going with a 2-2 draw. Now we'll do things different. We're going to take a look at 3 games. The Relagationiòs. We have Wolves vs Crystal Palace, Ipswich vs Leicester, and Southampton vs Everton. All 6 of these sides are in a race. They're having a race to the bottom. Who can capitulate the quickest? Who can lose the most games? Who can bottle the most leads? They're doing everything, all of these teams, to get relegated. Southampton, they're leading the pack. No wins. I believe only 1 draw this season. Wolverhampton, next in line. They have 2 draws. No wins. Ipswich, we have them next. 4 draws. It's no good. Then the others, Crystal Palace just got their first win. Just. Everton and Leicester, they've had wins. So they're a little bit clear of the relegation zone. But these sides, they are looking like some of the worst sides we've ever seen in the Premier League. And one thing I know is this season there will be a relegation battle. I do believe 5 of these sides will be in with a shout to get relegated by at least May. We're going to be surprised. I have a feeling Crystal Palace, they are really, really flirting with relegation. Everton, you just don't know what you're going to get with this Everton side. Surely they're not this bad, but clearly they are. They are clearly this bad. Wolves, very, very lucky last weekend against Brighton. 2 goals at the death. Ipswich, oh God, Ipswich. They were winning 2-0, then conspired to get a red card and find themselves losing with one of the last kicks of the game, 4-3 to Brentford. It's like nobody wants to win games. And the first game we'll look at is the Palace vs Wolves game. No Eze, no Wharton. They got their first win, but it came at a cost because now these players are not there. I believe Wharton is having surgery. I don't know how long he's out for, but they're definitely not going to be back before the international break. Wolves, they might be a little bit fired up from the 2-2 draw with those 2 late goals. Ipswich vs Leicester. It was very painful. Very, very painful for both teams last week. Like I said, they bottled the lead, Ipswich. Leicester, 3-1 in the East Midlands derby. Chris Wood embarrassed them. He pulled down their bottom and spanked them. very, very, very bad. Very, very, very bad. Southampton and Everton. Everton, very lucky to get a point. So lucky. Fulham, I don't know why Fulham didn't beat them. But this season, a lot of teams just concede late goals. It's probably going to be one of the seasons where the most equalizers and winners get scored in the 90th minute, because already it seems like every week there's at least 2 games. I think last week there was four late goals. Southampton, it was a valiant performance against Man City. They done very well. They lost 1-0. I expected them to get pummeled, but they done well. Of course, Erling Haaland could have scored many goals, but he didn't. They won in the cup. They took that form into midweek. They beat Stoke. Some of their fans want the manager gone, but this might just be the time. This might be the time. And the reason why I'm mixing all of them together is because my score prediction is 2-1 in all those games. Wolves to beat Crystal Palace 2-1 and get their first win of the season. Ipswich to beat Leicester 2-1 and get their first win of the season. And Southampton to get their first win 2-1. Guys, here's all the predictions. So we have Arsenal beating Newcastle 2-0. Man City beating Bournemouth 2-0. Ipswich 2-1 against Leicester. Liverpool 2-2 with Brighton. Nottingham Forest 2-1 with West Ham. Southampton 2-1 against Everton. Wolves 2-1 against Crystal Palace. Tottenham 2-2 against Aston Villa. Man United 3-2 against Chelsea, and Fulham 2-2 against Brentford. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think the scores are going to be in those fixtures? Let me know if you agree or disagree with some of them. So, this has been the Game Week 10 Premier League preview. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel. Bless.